7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Yes, we did play our, on CKLU anyways, our intro twice this morning as I got Dave's phone camera all up and running so that way we could be ready for today. We were going over today's news because there's a lot of news. And just as we were going on, we realized that we didn't have a camera for Dave, so he would have been Dave in the background, and we wanted Dave in the foreground this morning. So yes, Dave will be joining me right after the weather this morning, and we'll be talking about the mayoral candidacy coming up. All the mayors will be talking about some. They're going to be closing the downtown post office, but the main story today is tomorrow. City Council is going to be sitting down and talking about the KED and some more of the politics on that and whether that will go forward and they're going to vote on that. So that is crazy. So there's crazy stuff we're going to be talking about today. Thanks for joining us on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio. Thanks for listening each and every day. And also all of you that join us on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, please continue to comment and be part of the show. And also, welcome to the Facebook monitors and the YouTube monitors. We know that you have a job to do, and just like I learned in school just recently, that it's not an easy job, and you have all kinds of policies that you have to make sure that shows like myself and pages and groups are kind of adhering to the community standards. So thanks for joining us this morning, and hopefully we're doing our best to keep a good, positive narrative going about our community, that you could also learn a little bit about our little town in Northern Ontario. We have lots to talk about, like I said today, but let's get started with a little bit of what we're experiencing outside in terms of the weather. We'll be right back. Okay, as promised, 15 degrees. It is 88% humidity. I think we got some rain last night, at least where I'm located. And today, cloudy. It's 70% chance of showers, risk of thunderstorm late in the afternoon, wind becoming southwest, 20 kilometers, gusting to 40. And the high today will be 20, but it'll feel like 25. The UV index will be 5 or moderate. And then tonight, cloudy, 60% chance of showers, risk of thunderstorm early this evening. Wind southwest again, 20 kilometers, becoming light early this evening, low of 16. And then the long term, which I do like better than my phone app, it says chance of showers tomorrow, 60%, high of 22. But then, mix of sun and cloud for Wednesday, high of 23, sunny for Thursday, high of 26, sunny for Friday, high of 27. So that looked better than my app, because I think my app was showing cloudy all the way through. And then they're calling for 30% chance of showers on Saturday, and then a mix of sun and cloud. So it could be a good week again. We'll be back right after this. Yes, and before we get into some of our headlines, we do have some sports headlines. The Junior Spartans and the Senior Spartans were in action this weekend that just passed. So, good news. They both won as usual. This is becoming amazing. These guys are just, doing amazing. Both teams, the Sudbury Spartans men's team and the Junior Spartans. Incredible, guys. So keep up the good work. So as promised, here you go. The Junior Spartans, it was one-way traffic for the Sudbury Junior Spartans on the final stretch of the Ontario Summer Football League playoffs. So we'll have that, and we'll also give you the latest on the Spartans, the adults, the men's Spartans, making quick adjustments during the climb to the top of the NFC standings. Andrew Kilby may be new to summer football, but the Sudbury Spartans rookie linebacker has looked more and more like a seasoned veteran with each week. So yes, so Junior Spartans, here you go. This is Sudbury Star reporting on the Junior Spartans. They scored early and often Saturday afternoon in a 60-1 rout of the Clarington Knights, capping off the regular season with a North Division leading record of 6-0. So that's the Sudbury Spartans, Junior Spartans. And then the men's team, much of the same, a big old W. So you got yet the athlete who rushed for 2 touchdowns and piled up a game-high 131 yards in the Sudbury Spartans' 42-6 win over the North Bay Bulldogs was making just his second appearance with the Northern Football Conference and his first on home turf, having set out on the last 3 games due to injury. So speaking of Ingram. What's his first name again? I know this. Anyways, I was just reading it. So he's comes back from a rugby background. Basically, comes from a rugby background, and starred at outside center and fullback for Eastview Secondary School in Barrie. And now he's playing for the Sudbury Spartans. And so there you go. So way to go, Ingram. And way to go, Sudbury Spartans and Sudbury Junior Spartans. The only loss so far, I think, was the Junior Spartans opening game on the road. Other than that, they've won. Both teams have won every single game other than that. So we'll be back right after this with some headlines. And Dave will be joining me with his new camera. As promised, here he is. Yeah, and it's not, so there you have technical things. So I'll come back to me, and then we'll go back to here, and then we'll go here, and it should work, but it's not working, so it's not flipping around today. You do things every single day, and it works, but let's try this again. Let's take it offline, and you'll have to hit on there to share phone. Share it somewhere. It'll say share this. Oh, that's interesting. All right. Why not, eh? Just let's do this again. So here, this is Dave's phone. We're just getting it all up and running here. Share it. It should just share now. It was working. Things that have never happened before are happening today. This is what happens on live streaming. It was funny. I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers the other day, and he was having something similar to this, and he was just kind of going through what I'm doing right now. There you go. There you are. That's how easy that was.
I do exist.
Yeah, I did the exact same thing I did previously, but it just didn't work. But now it's working. So, but that's the way it goes in the big city. So how you doing today, Dave? Are you excited for the headlines today?
Yeah, it looks like some interesting stories for sure to cover.
Lots of interesting stories here on our Facebook page. I've been sharing these, so we'll get this all ready. I got a new template that I've been working on to go through the headlines, and here you go, 1 and 2. There it is. CBC reporting, as I get the comments up from our Facebook so I can see if people are commenting. I don't want to miss out on anybody's helping us along with the show today, because obviously you can see we need a lot of help today. The closure of downtown Canada Post leaves unhoused people behind. Yes, Lise, good morning. Hope you're having a beautiful Monday as well. The Canada Post is going to be closing, leaving unhoused people behind, say advocates. So we're going to be saying goodbye to our downtown post office after all these years. We'll see what advocates have to say for the unhoused. I guess that's a new term for
Homeless.
people who are homeless, unhoused. I haven't heard that before, but
Yeah, it's a
I guess we
different.
can always use new terminology for things. And
Yes.
we're going to look at the mayoral candidates for the that we're going to be voting for on October 1st. CTV basically talking about if you had a Rogers phone or Rogers internet or anything to do with Rogers, or your bank had something to do with Rogers, you weren't able to do banking, or you weren't able to use your phone or any of that on Friday. So we'll talk about the CEO apologizing for that particular outage. Sorry if you were impacted by that, by the way, because that's very inconvenient. I know, Dave, you were impacted, so
Correct.
we'll
Yes.
get more into that. As time goes on. Greater Sudbury now, this goes along with, we'll talk about this when we talk about the mayors, the candidates for mayor. Bob Johnston launched his campaign at the Northbury and Conference Center Friday afternoon after the Rogers outage, pledging to remove up to 10 members of city administration and doing whatever he can to kill the KED, which he described as poison. All right, that's love the controversy in the wording there. The controversial wording makes for good talk radio and live podcasts on the internet. The people affected by the, I think this is the Rogers outage. They basically shows the need for more competition, so that way you don't have one big conglomerate, and if they go out, it affects everybody, right? So we'll try and share that along with the story about the CEO apologizing. In letters to City Council, the Kingsway Entertainment District's private hotel partner, Genesis Hospitality, casino partner, Gateway Casinos, and developer Dario Zulich have reaffirmed their commitments for the project. So there you go. Private KED partners still committed despite huge jump in costs. That's going to be a huge part of our show today about the whole KED thing. See, so you have a letter here. After years of fractious debate, the reality of the Kingsway Entertainment District project is clearly untenable. What we need to do now is learn from the mistakes in the past 6 years. So hopefully, sad and unfortunate KED chapter is ended. That's what somebody's chiming in here. The Ward 5 candidate Mike Perron wonders why, when it comes to arenas and casinos, North Bay managed to do what Sudbury could not. So there you go. So there's a bit of a theme going on here today. And I'm not sure why we have the weather here, but we do. So Dario Zulich is saying that the budget, basically, he thinks it can be done. Dario Zulich said Friday he looks forward to working with the city to realize an event center that shines bright and respects the taxpayer. To realize an event center that shines bright and respects the taxpayer. Interesting wording there. And here you go. Another citizens have been calling for a referendum on the KED. And I would say so here. The city of Greater Sudbury has chosen the bidding party led by developer Dario Zulich and its preferred proponent to advance to the next stage for an arena and an events center budgeted for $215 million in the Kingsway Entertainment District. So the city chooses Ball/Tesk, which is Dario's, he's the CEO of that company, I believe. Listed on paper as that, or online, as the reporters have said, as a preferred proponent for the KED arena. So this is complex a little bit. So we want to break this down on what's going on with KED and what they're going to be voting on tomorrow. We'll try and unpack some of this news. Here's a little bit of a headline though. The Russell Peters show, I guess, went ahead on Friday. Said due to the Rogers network outage across Canada, debit and credit card transactions may not be possible for the Friday show for Russell Peters. So I don't know if you went to that or not, but hopefully you didn't have any problems because they could only accept cash at the time. How about we just talk about the outage first, Steve, and then we'll get into other things, because I think you were impacted by that, as far as I remember. It began kind of funny little story because, as you know, Zach's basically on a hiatus for a bit here, and he's been doing some things and looking for some full-time employment. Even though he is a real estate agent, he also wants to spread out his wings and get something as well to go along with that. And he's been really pounding the pavement, job searching. And you've been very, I guess you can say, open to coming on here, even though you admit that you don't have all the experience in the world being on, live streaming or being on podcasts. But you were totally open. You said, okay, I will help you out and come on the show. But you do read a lot of local news and national and international news. So you're up on a lot of the events and things.
Yeah,
stories.
I like to check the news articles and read what interests me. Yeah.
And the thing is with that is I texted you on Friday saying, okay, hey, we're going to be on, and no response and whatever. And it's like, oh, well, I guess I'll be doing the show solo. And thought that maybe you just slept in or you had enough of coming on, or I'm not sure what was going on. But later found out Rogers had a huge interruption in their network. Yeah,
that was a shock for sure.
Yeah, and so you said later, oh, sorry, I just got your text now.
Yeah, it came in like 5:50 p.m.
and it wasn't anything to you. And again, Miles, who chimes in on the show, was part of our Sudbury Sports Talk, came on every Tuesday, and then he comments pretty regularly here on the show. He was on the show too last week with yourself, myself, and Billy. I sent him a message too, almost like a Hail Mary. Miles, you can turn your camera on and come on the show if you'd like. And crickets, And then later, Miles chimed in on the show. So I'm like, oh, I guess he just preferred to stay. And then he also texted me later. He said, oh, I didn't realize, you wanted me to come on.
Yeah.
But both of you are on Rogers.
Yes, yeah.
So I wonder how many people are going to be switching now that that's taken place. So you have the Russell Peters show that was affected by that. You have people that, would have had to pay cash, for it. But let's look at the story here. Far-reaching implications for Rogers outage need competition, says the expert. Widespread Rogers Communication Inc. outage that caused trouble for 911 services, retailers, and transit operators Friday had many warning had many warnings, the incident is a sign that monopolistic telecommunication companies need more competition. The outage is illuminating the general lack of competition in the telecommunications in Canada, said Vas Bednar, Executive Director of McMaster University's Master of Public Policy program. He says the country's telecom sector is dominated by 3 large carriers. Can you guess who they are?
Bell and Rogers and...
One more.
Virgin or...
Oh, sorry. You got 2 of them. Rogers, BCE, which is Bell Inc.,
Yeah.
and TELUS.
TELUS. Okay.
And everyone says, I thought TELUS was Bell. No, they're not.
Okay.
TELUS is its own company. Anyways, and their hold on the industry has long been a concern for academics. Probably more than academics.
Yeah.
Been a concern. But I guess academics study this kind of thing, and that's why they're concerned. Who have called for regulators to increase competition for mobile and internet services in Canada. The Competition Bureau is currently fighting Rogers' plans to purchase Shaw Communications Inc. for $26 billion, despite the planned sale of its Freedom Mobile business to Quebecor Inc. So there's Quebecor, there's Shaw, there's Eastlink. These are all smaller players in the pond of telecommunications, even though in Sudbury, Eastlink is a huge part of our telecommunications because they are the cable provider. They are the inventor as well. Oh, yeah, Miles got it right. TELUS, yes. Good job, Miles. Sorry, I'm behind on the comments here. I'm just, I'll get it all in. So, but anyways, yeah, so Eastlink is the provider. They were the inventor of the triple play internet, home phone, and cable bundle.
Genius.
They invented it, And yeah, I'm just getting to the comments now. Lee's, good morning, happy Monday. And then here, Miles, just to prove it that he got it right. TELUS, he'll have bragging rights to you on when we see him next time. So this is the thing. There's something going on here with telecommunications. We have these giants in the ecosphere of telecommunications, and they are Rogers, Bell, TELUS, mainly, who have the infrastructure of the country. And then you have people like Eastlink, Quebecor, Shaw, who are kind of on the off of their infrastructure. Now, some of these companies do have their own infrastructure, but not as much as the big 3. So even with those companies, you have Rogers making a bid to buy Shaw out, so taking out one of the largest secondary player in Canada. Instead of adding more competition, it's getting less.
That's right, yeah. It's definitely the trend in a lot of industries, I think. But yeah, I guess there's pros and cons to it. I definitely, like I said, I didn't like the idea of not having service that day, or a little more than a day, I think.
So did you consider changing your provider due to that or not? Or
yeah, a little bit.
What should I do?
It's definitely, I think there was a few aspects of it. So consider carrying a bit more cash on me too. And yeah, I think it's a little, concerning that something that, whatever, countrywide and, that crucial to, industry and work. Like my job, I was affected. I couldn't do my job very well without my phone working. So that brought down, productivity and different, whatever. People suffered, not being able to communicate.
I wonder what the actual impact was of this.
Yeah, impossible to measure. You could have just
financially.
Well, financially, yeah, that's...
And then what about, not only financially, but what about lives, health?
Plus, stress, like some, senior citizens, people that are, homebound, that kind of thing, that might be their only, form of communication. It could be pretty stressful, to and not be able to reach out to your loved ones, not know how they're doing.
Exactly.
Order things you need. So it's far-reaching, I'm sure.
It is. Well, at least the CEO did reach out. And when I was in public relations and in college, we talked about a lot of these companies when they really drop the ball. What are they supposed to do?
Yeah.
Some of them are just silent and hoping it goes away. And the more they're silent, the more it kind of festers, and they got to say something eventually.
Yeah.
And if they don't come across saying sorry or something, or make restitution or whatever, that ends up being a bad thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I think one of the situations they like using is the Maple Leaf example of Maple Leaf Foods.
Okay.
When they had salmonella or
I remember
Ebola, not Ebola.
Salmonella, I think
was salmonella?
Yeah, it's vague now, so I don't remember.
Some of their meat products, and so they came out right away and apologized, and and did all kinds of things for public relations for their customers and for the communities. So anyways, here is a CTV story on the CEO of Rogers basically apologizing. So then we'll be back with a comment from Miles.
Good afternoon, Angie, and thank you for allowing us the opportunity to speak with you.
So, of course, the big question, are all services back now across the country?
They are. Before I get to that, if you give me the opportunity, I want to again apologize to Canadians and to our customers for the network outage that they experienced yesterday. We know how important networks are to our customers and to Canadians and the role they play. And we take that responsibility very seriously. I'm pleased to report that as of now, pretty close to 100% of our network is now back up and running. 100% of our wireless customers have service across the nation. And in terms of our cable, both home and business, less than 1% are still having what we would describe as intermittent issues, but our teams are on it, and we hope to resolve that within the hour so that very shortly we'll be at 100% for all our services.
Do we know exactly what caused this?
We're still going through, as you would expect, what I would call a very detailed and rigorous review process, root cause analysis, to make sure we completely understand how this happened so we can prevent it going forward. And in the coming hours and days, we'll be very transparent and share with everyone what we find, and more importantly, that this is not going to be a concern going forward. What I can share with everyone as of right now, we've narrowed the cause to a network system failure following a maintenance update that we did late Thursday evening, early Friday morning. And these are typically very routine updates in our core network. That update caused some of the routers in our system to malfunction. And that malfunction caused traffic overload. And as a result of that, the whole system just shuts down and the network became inoperable to our customers. And so what we've done, we immediately, as soon as we knew what the problem was, we replaced the equipment, the software, the configuration that we needed to in order to get our network up and running. And we worked through that all of yesterday and through the night to make those changes so we could move quickly as possible to get as I said, to get the network up. As part of the due diligence review root cause analysis process, you can expect us to comb through various pieces of data. I can tell you that our routers, as well as other pieces of equipment in the network, have very detailed logs so that we're going through and it captures it millisecond by millisecond. So we have hundreds, if not thousands, of people within our organization, technicians, experts, within Rogers, as well as with our global suppliers, their best talent from around the world. And they've been on this since 5 a.m. yesterday, trying to work through this. And as they go through the root cause, they'll review those call logs, or I should say, logs on the equipment to make sure we fully understand millisecond by millisecond what happened. And so that we are sure that we have the right fix and prevent this from happening going forward.
I know you've talked about, and you said it, you've talked about prevention, but this isn't the first time this has happened. It's happened before. So why is there no redundancy in place for such outages to prevent something like this from happening again?
Absolutely. As we move forward, we're very focused on resiliency and redundancy of our network. And we continue, and our plan moving forward is not only to fix some of the process items related to this, but continue and ramp up the investments we're making into our networks to ensure that redundancy and resiliency that you just mentioned.
Well, you saw, what the overall reaction was. It exposed of course, our reliance on technology. We saw chaotic scenes, people unable to do their banking or get their groceries, even to get gas. So consumers certainly feeling the pinch, but businesses as well lost quite a bit of money, many of them having to turn people away because they couldn't process those transactions. What are you going to do for them?
I had the opportunity to speak to a few of our customers. I'm trying to speak to as many as I can. And I can tell you through those firsthand conversations how painful and challenging we made things for them. And for that, again, I am, together with all of Rogers, truly sorry for causing that. And we're going to fix this going forward. In terms of what are we doing specifically for those customers, there's really two things. We are proactively applying bill credits for those customers, but more importantly, we're making sure that we're putting the money back into and investing in the things they need to make sure that they have that resiliency and redundancy in the network so that they can rely and we can earn their trust again on the Rogers network.
Tony Staffieri, President and CEO of Rogers Communications. Really appreciate once again you giving me your time today. Thank you.
Okay, so what do you think about that, Dave, when you watch that?
Well, a few thoughts. Yeah, he definitely covered some of the main points of the story, and I think that for me, like I do property management, and sometimes things break, things happen, and if they do their best to get it back and running, fairly quick. So, not knowing that technology and the system and how quick it can be to get it back up and running. But I think when they mention resiliency or redundancy, we got to do that in our lives too. I think we need to do some things to be ready for this type of thing. It's a bit of a wake-up call for me, and realizing, okay, I'm relying upon one thing, for certain, And yeah, I think you talked about some compensation, so that's definitely, I think, we'll see what happens there. I think that's, for us, like I said, in my business, sometimes there's a rebate, there's a little reduction in, service, so yeah, there should be some kind of compensation sometimes. But yeah, if they do their best.
They never talked about any compensation.
I thought he said they were doing some bill credits.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I was listening for.
You were waiting as a customer. Okay, when are they going to pay me?
There was some statement in the article about they should compensate, but
they should, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think, like I said, things break down, things happen, and we have to be a little bit more, I think, understanding that it's how often does this happen? What I mean?
But there is a bigger kind of a thing out here. Was it just redundancy, and was it just an update with some servers?
That's the thing when he talks about software and that. So I don't trust that they would tell us, hey, there's a hacker or some kind of,
Yeah.
And so I think there's maybe more that'll come out in the future on this story, but it definitely impacted a lot of people, and like they said, it's a serious thing.
So what Jerome's thinking too, Reba, same thing, cyber attack kind of thing. Could that have been the beginnings of one? You know what I
mean? Some kind of. He said software, and when he mentioned, there was one thing that he mentioned about software, and updating it. So to me, like I said, I don't think they would come out and tell us, if that was the case, and they'd like to keep that. Hush hush probably. So
a cyber attack could be translated as a software update easily.
Yeah, what I mean.
We were updating our software while we were being attacked.
That's it. Yeah.
And it went down.
Yeah.
Because we weren't able to, combat the attack.
Yeah, this router thing and whatever. It just seems like a bit of a.
He's just explaining what would happen during an attack, right? Yeah. If you were attacked, you would then try and update things and get do what you could to work through an attack. So you would update your software, and hopefully your virus stuff and all your IT guys would be all hands on deck and redoing things, and then the routers would go down if the hackers were successful. But you just left out the idea of an actual attack or whatever.
Just some maintenance update issue.
So, and I guess we're expecting an attack. So when we see things like that,
That's right. Yeah, they just did some kind of whatever training on potential whatever grid shutdown or attack, and so I think it's something to keep in mind. I think whatever we experienced that day, that could happen again in a prolonged way. So just have some a backup plan and maybe some.
What are things people could do then?
Yeah, that's it. I think, like you said, if there's other networks, then having some access to another network, just different. Depends on the scenario, but a place to meet, someone to communicate through, check on people.
Is it possible all of them can go down regardless of what carrier you're
definitely with? EMPs, there's all these stories of solar flares, and so there's just this hint of a possibility of this coming. They're planning for it, so hopefully the government will save us all if it happens, but I doubt it. So I think we need to be self-reliant as much as we can, plan what would happen, keep some cash, have some backup, plan for losing the grid or the power and internet, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. People definitely have to think of things like this happening, like we never had to before, but today this is the normal. When you we've never relied on things like this before, so this is like a new thing. So it's definitely have some cash, have some backup things, maybe some food. We're told to be prepared for almost anything, and this is a good example of what could happen. A lot of people going just their normal routines in the morning in the drive-through of Tim Hortons, and
these businesses are really putting all
Do you have cash on you?
in one basket kind of thing. And
how many people carry cash on them these days?
Well, that's it.
Very
I
little.
do, but
Oh, I know, but very few people do that. So really, a lot of good comments coming in from everyone. Keep the comments coming. But we are going to be switching gears here. We're going to be coming back and talking about some more Sudbury-centric things. Not that Rogers shut down or whatever. Their network going down wasn't a local story, because it definitely was. A lot of people locally were affected. We'll talk about the KED and who's running for mayor this year coming up. Okay. So who are you going to vote for mayor, Dave? Do you know? Do you have any idea?
I haven't decided yet. No, like I said in the previous show, I met Johnston, and I like some of his, his
you met him?
position. Yeah. So to me,
cool.
I'm thinking, I'm more, I guess, leaning towards someone that's going to try to help the less sort of fortunate at the moment, and focus on just, to me, common sense stuff. You know what I mean? Like I read a little bit about his position on a few things. He's definitely abrasive in certain ways, I think. So again, I haven't reviewed the other candidates much, so I just I think I'll do my studying and review what they have to say. And
we really want to know their platforms, right? It would be great to have some of these people that are currently in council, city council, come on the show. Also, those that are running. I have a feeling probably only the ones that are running would come on the show, but you never know. It would be great to have some of the current people that are holding the positions. The mayor is welcome anytime. You just have to sudburynews@gmail.com. You can just email us if you'd like to come on, or you're watching now in the comments, say, I'd love to come on. Just reach out to us. You can reach out to us anytime. And just to go back to that story we talked about on, anyways, no. We talked about the Christ the King Church downtown. If you want to donate your car, they will take it and get it for scrap, give it to the scrap yard, and they'll get the money for the scrap. But they made a little typo on their page, and it said to call an individual the number. And then it said, and if you also want to call Christ, you can give the number or whatever. So I'm not going to show the screen right now for that purpose. But anyways, take our word for it. It was on Friday's show? No, Thursday's show when Billy was on.
Yeah, a few shows back.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm just the reason why I say that is because I'm also we're on a Sudbury Star story, and we're talking about the mayors coming up for the election on October 24th. That's when you'll have a chance to vote for who you'd like to be Sudbury's mayor, whether you still want Brian Bigger or you'd like to take a chance on someone else. So there's going to be October 1st. Is this a debate? The event will take place at Parkside Older Adult Center, Durham Street, Saturday, October 1st, 1:30. That the Sudbury Arts Council will join CARP in sponsoring the event. It's expected that issues affecting both groups will be put before candidates, as well as other questions of importance to citizens. The meeting will be held on Saturday since parking is free in the downtown, and it'll allow for those who work during regular weekdays to attend. So the format of the meeting will be opening remarks by the candidates, followed by questions, and then closing statements. A social period will follow. The meeting will be open to all, and there is no charge to attend. And it's anticipated that the meeting will be video recorded, so that way people who are unable to attend can go. And this is why I thought of it, because they say you can call John Lindsay at CARP Sudbury Chair at 705-507-6037 for more information. But it's the reason why I brought up the other thing for Christ the King Church and their fundraiser was I was showing the screen, like I chose not to do here just for whatever reason. And it said there was a typo there. Instead of or call Christ the King Church, it said or call Christ at the number. So we had a really good banter about that afterwards. Anyways, we do know that reporters do their best, and sometimes, typos do happen, and sometimes they're humorous. And in that case, it was very humorous. Okay, we still got more comments coming in on the financial, conundrum or impact from the Rogers situation on Friday. So let's talk a little bit about KED now. What do you know of KED? If you were to describe, if someone said, give me a little what's going on, lay of the land on the whole KED thing, what would you tell people who have no idea what's going on?
Well, Kingsway Entertainment District. So yeah, they're hoping to build a new arena and have a casino there and a hotel, and I think basically it's a project that's been stalled or just not been able to get off the ground very much for several years. And there's definitely people that are for it, but there's definitely a good amount of people that are, not supportive of it. And we're right now at a point where, the costs are just really ballooning, and it's something that, they have to, again, like you said earlier, vote on Tuesday about it. And I think, it's either way it goes, it's going to, upset people, one way or the other. There's going to be people that aren't going to be happy. So, a great position to be in as far as those that are leading the project or having to decide on it.
Okay, yeah, that's true. And years ago they couldn't even decide where this thing was going to go, so that was a huge referendum. It wasn't even a referendum, but they had a vote, city council, on where it was going to go. Yeah,
well, that's it. Now they want to, there's some people pushing for a referendum, and I think that makes some sense. Again, there's other issues, I think, that are a little bit more important. But yeah, I think it's just that's a lot of money to invest, and so I think we need to really look at the full budget in the sense of what we're doing with our, like any household, what are we doing with our money, and are we doing the best thing with it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Tina, if you're listening, just let us know how the feed is. Okay, perfect. It's better now. Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, we just had a bit of a, sorry if you're listening to CKLU and it was a little bit glitchy there. We apologize. Maybe it's another internet cyber attack going on.
Just a maintenance
update.
Issue. Sorry about that.
But anyways, these kinds of things do happen, and it's going to happen. And then this show definitely won't be able to continue. So it will be one of the things that, people like myself that are relying on this technology, it's not going to be, it's going to be terrible if things actually, the infrastructure or whatever is going to happen, cyber attack, updates that don't turn out well, whatever it's going to be, and our infrastructure doesn't work anymore. People that rely on this kind of network or infrastructure are definitely going to be impacted hugely. So, KED partners are still committed despite huge jump in costs.
Yes.
So right now we have council going to be meeting tomorrow to even vote it down. Like, let's say they say, well, and they are deciding. Mayor Bigger already came out and said he's going to vote it down. He's going to say we don't have enough money for it anymore. We're building this new $100 million library, theater, arts, Junction East,
or whatever, yeah.
But it's basically an art gallery, library, and a little theater like Place des Arts has too, just down the road. So he's going to say, no, we just voted to build that, so we don't really have enough money anymore. And your budget for that doubled. I know our budget doubled too for the library, but we're going to go ahead with that one instead.
Correct.
Because why do we need a new arena when we can have a new library?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like really, think of it. If you were to ask everyone in the city, what would you rather have, a new arena or a new library? 100% of people would say library, I'm positive.
98, I think, 97.
98% at least.
Yeah, it's just more logical. That's the thing I was saying, it just doesn't seem like we're really, it's like who, has the power and what they want, rather than a consensus that, really makes sense for everyone. And again, I don't even know if either one is the most important compared to maybe some other issues, but that's, I think at least a pretty big, point there.
So they're going to vote it down. But even though people have said, like the council's gonna vote it down, there's an election coming up. A new mayor, a new council could come in and then just reverse everything and start over again.
This article or one of them about it is like trying to say, okay, we can do something a little less expensive and come in with a different proposal. But it's like, come on, like, how much time are we going to continue to put this, this time and effort into it? There's costs in redesigning things. There's costs and delays and stuff. So it's
definitely. So Miles is chiming in here, and unfortunately, I can't read the comment because it's really small on my iPad, and my screen is refreshing at the slowest speed I've ever seen it refresh, and it keeps telling me to wait. Do you want to wait to see it? Anyways, so.
Got it on my phone here. So what does he say? My understanding is that the KED is supposed to be partly financed by private, but the cost that is being quoted is for the arena only.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's 3 partners that gave letters to the city. Private partners. One of them was the land developer Dario Zulich, hotel developer Genesis Hospitality, and casino developer Gateway Casinos. 3 private partners issued letters to the city council this week, last week, reaffirming their commitments, which is one of 2 key developments highlighted in a supplemental event center update posted to the city's website this week. which, in addition to the report previously reported on and featured the project's new $215 million municipal price tag.
Yeah, so like Miles makes a good point here. He says easy for partners to stay committed since they have no intention of paying any of that cost. So that cost is not going to be covered by them, and so they're just obviously wanting it to go forward and not making any efforts to help with that cost. Like they could jump in and say, hey, we're going to foot some of the bill. Like we.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely contentious kind of situation in a sense of people's different interests being heard, and I think like I said, I think the city's interest in our budget and our future. Johnston makes some good points. Like I didn't even know. I thought it was $750 million that were in debt, but it's actually a lot more when you talk about debt and servicing that debt, and then infrastructure debt. So there's some different terminologies that don't really reveal all that our obligations are. So
you're saying some of the reports in the city could say our debt is at a certain amount, but when you really pick it apart, it's actually more than that?
Well, that's what I liked about Johnson. Yeah, like I said, he's bringing that to light as far as, I haven't really read any of that in the previous articles, but he says $3.2 billion, but they admit that there's at least $1 billion. So obviously there's some discrepancies in numbers, but
so the city is saying we're $1 billion in debt, and Bob Johnston is claiming that it could be as high as $3.1 billion, 3 times that.
Yeah, well, that's
okay.
It. Yeah,
when you use a different formula, let's say, when you look at it.
So he's saying it's $3.2 billion, and so that's the debt load in comparison to other infrastructure deficit estimate is $1 billion. So there's sort of like different terminology, but I mean it's like if we owe our phone bill and our cable bill or whatever, it's all still debt. So.
But this is what I don't understand. So council is coming out and saying, "Oh, we're going to be benevolent and say, well, we're not going to go ahead with KED because it costs way too much money, and look at the debt we're in, and look at the we can't afford it." But yet they came out at 11-2 and voted, we want a $100 million library though. Mm-hmm. Like again, the rationale doesn't hold water. They're not consistent with the rationale. So why don't they also say, well, actually, we can't afford the library either then?
Yeah. There's been some
because that doubled as well in the original guesstimation of cost.
That's it. Yeah, we were watching a show, and any of these projects go usually quite a bit over budget on top of that. So if we're at 215 now, by the time they get this done, we could be likely even higher. So but again, if it's a good project and it's going to bring value to the city, and so that's the part that doesn't get discussed as much. But I think it's a guesstimate anyway. It's not really, it's a gamble, and like I said, right now I think that's not the time.
But how long were these projects being talked about?
Well, that's it.
Okay, so how long? Long time.
Yeah.
So let's say they were built.
Original was $60 million or something.
Yeah, let's say they were built and we didn't have all the red tape, and because Sudbury takes years and years and years to do anything, they could have been built for a fraction of the cost that they're going to cost now. We would save money. So I think it's almost like a punishment for us not being able to do things in a timely manner like other cities. Here's an opinion from Ward 5 candidate Mike Perrant. Wonders why, when it comes to arenas and casinos, North Bay managed to do what Sudbury could not. Yeah. Now, they didn't build a new casino or new arena, but they did refurbish theirs, and that's the plan they took. And we could have done the same with Sudbury Arena. We could have said, okay, no, we're just going to make it modernized, and we're going to just keep the foundations, everything of the Sudbury Arena, and just modernize it. But we chose, okay, no, we want a new one. Okay, is it downtown or is it New Sudbury? Okay, no, New Sudbury. And then there's an environmental block, and then there's other people, why do we need a new casino? We already have one out in Chelmsford area. Why don't we just keep that and make that bigger and keep it where it is? So there's all these things we just can't agree on. So things go further and further and further until the point where now the costs are quadrupled, and, it doesn't make any sense to do anything. But why is North Bay able to do things? If you look at Sudbury.com, you can see this article with all of the, the particulars. They're able to do things. They said, hey, how about a casino? And boom, it was built.
Yeah. No, and I think that goes to the people involved in the decision making. It's
Crazy.
looking at their own self-interest. Possibly, just can't get along. Can't make decisions that are basically consensus and that are supported by the majority. And
yeah, exactly.
So it's costing us a lot. So we need that. The new leadership, or the people that are ready to vote. They need to really look at what these candidates are proposing for the future. And
well, tomorrow, unless any huge local news comes up, we're going to spend some time. I'm going to spend some time today studying this a little more. Yeah. Come back tomorrow with some more facts and a little bit of our views on what it is, and really kind of unpack this thing, because the vote is tomorrow night, so it's very timely. So thanks for joining us, everyone. Stay tuned now on CKLU 96.7 FM for Earshot Daily. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow with more KED. Is KED dead?
Have a great day.
Tomorrow. Have a great day. Ciao.